There we go. Bear with me, folks. Netherlands, nice. Okay, good deal. All right, I think we can get started now. So I wanted to hop in here real quick and speak to a couple things. By the way, if you don't know already, I'm Jeff, also known as Crypto Simp on social, the owner and operator of a swag Stakepool. And so today I wanted to take a couple minutes and talk about pool saturation briefly, and if you identify your pool is how you can identify how your pool is saturated, what you can do to remedy that, some methods of finding and identifying another pool potentially, as well as talk about briefly the new Yoroi extension update that has ledger support as well. So yeah, let's hop right into it. Josh, I got something special for you. Stay tuned, buddy. So going into it, I'm getting a lot of questions, and I'm seeing on social media that delegators are still potentially actually moving towards pools that are still saturated, i.e. ocean to be specific. And I'm not calling out ocean for anything other than their pool is just extremely saturated at this point, right? And so you still see, oh look, there actually looks like some people are doing some exodus. That's which is dope. But this pool is saturated. And what does that mean? It has reached a point to where there is enough delegation in that pool that it has met the threshold of which the K parameter allows ADA to be within that pool, and then the returns start to become slightly diminished. How much so? I'm not necessarily sure. But this one particularly, I think ILG1 also is saturated at this point as well. And I keep seeing every now and again a trend where a delegator moves their ADA into a heavily saturated pool. And I'm not talking about just specifically over maybe a couple 100,000. Right now the threshold is I believe 207 million. So this one's clearly over that threshold, right? And using tools like these community tools, by the way, I'm at pool.pm, which is coming one of my favorite tools at the moment. And that's by Smogpool. If you haven't checked out Smogpool, definitely go check out his Twitter page and reach out to him, ask him questions. This dude is doing phenomenal stuff in the community, and these are the type of pools that you want to support for sure. But if you're asking yourself, well, how do I know if my pool is saturated? This is one of the tools you can utilize at pool.pm to identify if a pool that you're currently in, or if a pool that you are potentially looking at going to may be saturated, or you can potentially anticipate when it is going to become saturated, right? You can also go down to adapool.org, and they also at the bottom where they list all the Cardano pools, all the stake pools. You can actually toggle and list them by their actual their active stake. I believe it's active stake. And it'll tell you which pools. Obviously, the red bar means that it's getting pretty close to saturation. Somebody's saying Ocean 3 isn't saturated. I have no idea. Let's look real quick. Definitely not. So there's a lot of room if anybody's in Ocean and they wanted to jump into Ocean 3, go for it. But yeah, these are the tools. This, as well as like I said, pool.pm, as well as Pool Tool, one of the OGs in the space, providing consistent information on how you guys can identify whether or not a pool has reached the point of saturation. And this one gives you the active stake and the live stake. Where is it? The live stake is right there as well. And you can also, like I said, sift through and see. IOG right now has 267 million total ADA, or a total stake to it right now, that's a lot. But yeah, so identifying that, hey, this pool is heavily saturated, which we have two right now. I think Digi is, they are close. I want to say they maybe have just met the threshold. And Rick over there is doing a phenomenal job telling guys, hey, guess what? My pool is saturated. You guys, you might want to seek, or you should seek rather, a different pool at the moment. So yeah, if you go down the list, you can identify different pools that you can, if you're in a saturated pool, or if you do happen to get into a saturated pool, how you can move from, or if you should be moving from pool to pool. Now I get the next question that comes to it. Well, which pool should I choose? And that's a personal question, or that's something that you have to actually decide on how you're going to pick your pool. Because truthfully, at the matter, that's like asking me, well, what should I invest in, right? Well, what do you believe in? What are your goals? Like, what makes you feel good about it, as well as getting a return on your investment. There's a lot of pools out here that are providing a quality content and value, like I just showed you. Those three tools, we have a pool tool, which is Papa Cart, also known as Love, has a ticker Love. Then you have Pool.pm, ran by Smog, the Smog pool. And then you have AdaPools.org, which is ran by the Cardanians. Like, shout out to all three of those. All three of those pools are doing phenomenal work within the space. Now, if their pools are saturated, I don't know. You would have to go and look into that. But that's the type of value that I would be looking at as an investor. Well, what are they doing to promote the community, right? So that's one way. Or you could go down to, there's a whole plethora of smaller pools that are just don't have the brand recognition, that they're just getting overlooked, and one I think that's pretty unique to me, honestly, is one of my buddies, Josh, over here at ATM Pools. He is literally putting his money where his mouth is, right? He is talking about investing the profits that he receives and putting them into building Cardano ATMs, essentially like Bitcoin ATMs, right? That's a dope idea. It's going to take a lot of, movement and parts, but if he can do it, that's the type of vision that I like to see. That's something that I would invest in, right? That's pretty cool. But he doesn't necessarily have the name and brand recognition of some of these other pools, and so he's getting overlooked, which is unfortunate. But if you have the time, check him out. Definitely very, very active on social, and he's minting blocks, so it's not like you're gonna be missing rewards. They may not come as steady as the larger pools, but it's gonna average out over time, and it's gonna be consistent. Right now, the protocol can be unforgiving from epoch to epoch, but if you give a pool operator time, and they build that rapport and they build that stake over time, it'll average out. We're still early days, right? So I would say give any pool operator that you're with right now, give them time to show you, hey, what's your performance like? You're not gonna be able to identify what a pool operator's performance is in one epoch. Like I said, they may, the protocol may say, okay, cool, you only get so many blocks this week, and this epoch, but you jump ship, and then two epochs later, their performance is 250% because they've minted, 3 or 4 times the amount of blocks that were anticipated, right? So just you keep that in mind. The second thing that I wanted to talk about was where is it at? The Yoroi extension that came out, the update. Give me 1 second. Sorry if you give my children in the background. School just started and it is all virtual. That's not the one I want. There we go. So the Yoroi extension just came out. 3.3 just came out today, right? And some of the things that they're talking about is ledger support, which is a lot of people were looking forward to this, myself included. This will bring a lot of users into the fold, right? So with this extension, though, I was running through it earlier today, and there's some things for ledger users that are attempting to use the extension, they definitely need to know beforehand and need to complete. Like Yoroi came out and said, you have to make sure that the Ledger app is up to date to 2.0.4, and I would also say that you have the firmware on the actual Ledger up to date as well. Let's see, where is it? Sorry for that. Trying to get to the app. Putting in my code. Don't try to hear the clicks. All right. So this is Ledger Live. If you've not using this, I highly recommend you going and downloading Ledger Live because it is dope. It is really, really good. So if you have a Ledger, download Ledger Live and make sure your Ledger is up to date with the latest firmware 1.6.1 right here, as well as installing the latest version of the Cardano application. 2.0.4 is a must. It's not going to work if you do not have this one installed. So you need that app installed, right? Once you have those two things, then you can head over to Yoroi and create a wallet, right? So now you can see that you go to connect obviously you have to open up your Ledger, and then you hit Cardano, and then now you can see it gives you the option for Ledger hardware wallet. And if you choose this option, it depends on what you're doing. Now, if you have not migrated and you've just been in cold storage this entire time, sleeping, waiting for Ledger to come online with Yoroi, then you're going to have to select the Byron Era read-only wallet. And you select the Byron read-only wallet, and once you get into that, it's going to ask you to upgrade. Now, I can't do that because I can't show you guys that example because I don't have that. I don't have Byron funds still out there. But there was an individual that said, there you go. He says, once I get to the Byron Era wallet, what do? Do I upgrade? Yes. You hit the upgrade button, right? So you hit the upgrade button, and then it'll tell you to confirm your public key. And then once you do that, you'll be good to go, right? Now, I did run into an issue when I was doing this the first time. If you get all, like I said, you go to Ledger Live, update the firmware, update the Cardano app as well. If you do that as well, and you're still not getting to the point where you see Cardano and then you just see Trezor, you may have to go into the extension up here at the top, remove the extension from the Chrome browser, and then reinstall it. But before you do that, ensure that you have your seeds, right? Make sure you have seeds. If you are just using Chrome-based, if you're just using the actual browser itself for a wallet and not the Ledger, I know I have both. I have the Ledger connected with a wallet, with a Yoroi wallet, as well as a wallet connected to just the browser itself, built into the browser. So I made sure I had my seeds prior to removing the extension and reinstalling it. Because at first I wasn't getting the Ledger hardware. I wasn't getting this Ledger hardware option. So I had to remove the extension and then reinstall the extension, and then it populated. So it's pretty nice. It's working well. I've already sent funds to the wallet. So yeah, it's refreshing, and it's good to see that that they're stepping the game up, and we're moving right along. We're moving at a pretty good pace right now. It's really good to see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Is there any questions? Questions in the chat? Let's see. So Ocean, a part of a bigger pool. Yeah, Peter. So Ocean has like 5 pools. And the only one that the only ones I've seen, I'll get to that. I see. The only one that I see is that's saturated is Ocean 1. I think, or just regular Ocean. I think all the other oceans are not saturated. But I see. Can't wait to stake on Ledger. Do you mean through Yoroi? Because you can actually do that. I'm glad you brought that up, because that probably would have blasted right past that. So here's my wallet within Yoroi, and this is the Ledger wallet. They've built the delegation center right into it, so you can go to, like I was talking about, ATM 1. Boom, I'm delegating. Oh, probably got to put in my code. That's taking normal or longer than normal. There we go. Yep. It's going to ask you a whole bunch of stuff like transactions and which epoch do you want to connect to. Registering key. Yep. Confirm. All right. Delegated to pool. I just got that on my ledger. There it is, successfully delegated. Our network fees a flat rate when exchanging ADA between Yoroi and Daedalus. So I'm only seeing the 0.17 transaction fee ever. I'm pretty sure that's pretty consistent. So regardless of whether you do it on software that is supported via IOHK and Cardano writ large, it's still a transaction fee of 0.17 to do that transaction. Yeah, so any other questions? Cool. Well, I appreciate the time, everyone. Thank you again for taking time out of your day to check out the vid, and until next time, cheers.